Welcome to Transform Online Shopping Experiences with Personalized Recommendations. I'm Sarah Strobar, a Senior AI/ML Specialist for AI Services at Amazon Web Services. Today, we're going to talk about how to leverage machine learning-driven personalization to improve brand loyalty, grow sales and revenue, and enhance the shopping experience across digital channels. Let's start by touching on the current landscape of personalization. Personalization isn't new. It's everywhere, and it's something we've all experienced. I know I experience it all the time across a variety of digital touchpoints, and I've come to expect it. When I'm on Amazon Prime or I'm browsing for what I want to binge watch next, I check out the next recommended for you titles, or the you may also like rows. Or when I'm shopping on an e-commerce site, I tend to buy more when they recommend relevant products that are just for me. I even prefer to browse through personalized recommendations rather than explore on my own. It just seems more efficient. Customers today expect frictionless, curated experiences that are tailored just for them. In fact, 63% of customers see this as the standard level of service. It's become table stakes. Therefore, market leaders are making investments in personalization to surprise and delight their customers by creating better online experiences. So, we know customers expect a highly tailored, relevant experience when interacting with brands. Now let's take a look at the two sides of personalization, getting it right and falling short. When personalization is poorly executed, it's not pretty. Personalized emails are a common use case for personalization. However, content isn't relevant sometimes, and customers are quick to unsubscribe, which increases opt-out rate and severs the connection with a valued customer. This is a pervasive and well-understood problem for marketers. In fact, only 6% of marketers give themselves an A grade at personalization, and nearly half say they're average. The risk of a negative customer experience is high, and it's a difficult problem to solve. The result is that 80% of marketers expect to abandon personalization efforts by 2025. This underscores the realization that personalization done poorly is worse for a business than not doing personalization at all. On the flip side, when personalization is done well and customers are presented with relevant recommendations at the right time, they're 110% more likely to add items to their cart, and they're 40% more likely to spend more than they'd planned. In addition, when personalization is executed effectively, customers tend to spend more time on e-commerce sites, from 2.9 minutes on average to 12.9 minutes on average. So given this, the question is not whether to personalize, it's how to personalize well and reliably. Amazon.com is a pioneer of personalization with over 20 years of experience building recommendation models to drive improved customer experiences. From the first feature launched for recommendations in 1998 until now, we've learned that different personalization strategies are needed for different use cases, and we've tackled complex recommendation challenges. Machine learning has enabled us to deliver unique experiences to individual customers based on their behavior and preferences, rather than generic segments of people. Our goal is to put machine learning in the hands of every developer and enable other organizations to leverage our learnings and make it easy for them to use machine learning with the data and systems they already have and create personalized user experiences that drive meaningful business value. Over the years, what have we learned about personalization? Most businesses start with a rule-based personalization system. Evergage found that 63% of businesses implemented personalization using rule-based methods based on segments, and only 22% were using more advanced one-to-one targeting strategies. These systems make intuitive sense, but get really hard to manage as the number of users increases and the number of items in the catalog increases. It becomes difficult to define rules that are specific enough for user segments to offer really meaningful personalization. Broad rules just don't do personalization well. Even as the human effort to set and manage those rules increases proportionally with scale, the performance just doesn't keep up. We know this because we've tried at Amazon. In almost all experiments, machine learning-based personalization does better than human-curated approaches. So machine learning does work better, but it isn't straightforward. Several challenges need to be overcome. First, the recommendation system should respond to the changing intent of a user in real time, rather than having pre-computed recommendations. For example, a consumer might be browsing for toys for their child and then switch to shopping for gifts for their mom, signaling a change in consideration and purchasing intent. The recommendation system should also handle cold start users, such as new users and guest users, and new items like new products entering the network. Second, recommendations should not fall into the popularity trap. It's easy to build a naive model that recommends mostly popular items, but hard to build a more sophisticated model that shows relevant recommendations from non-popular inventory, especially for wide assortments with a long tail of SKUs, or seasonal or promotional items, or even large catalogs with fast turnover. Third, unlike some other applications of machine learning, there is no master algorithm to solve all of the subproblems in personalization. And lastly, building accurate, effective personalization models usually requires machine learning expertise. The combination of these challenges means that most businesses stick to rule-based personalization or no personalization at all. Yet, we know that machine learning generates higher quality recommendations and a better customer experience. That's why we created Amazon Personalize, to enable developers to build applications with the same ML technology used by Amazon.com for real-time personalized recommendations, with no ML expertise required. Personalize is a fully managed machine learning service, meaning it provisions all of the necessary infrastructure, manages the entire ML pipeline, including processing the data, identifying features, training, tuning, optimizing, and hosting the models, and delivers personalized recommendations either in real time or batch. With Amazon Personalize, you pay only for what you use, and there are no minimum fees and no upfront commitments. You're charged based on the amount of data processed and stored, the compute hours used to train your models, and for the throughput actually used. So let's talk about how it works. You start by providing 3 main data sets to Amazon Personalize in the required schema or format based on the use case. The first data set is of user events or interactions. This is the behavior and activity stream of your users. Examples include items your users are clicking on, or adding to cart, or purchasing. This item user interaction dataset has the strongest signal for our machine learning algorithms, and it's the only one mandatory for Amazon Personalize. When onboarding to the service, you can also provide a historical log of all event and activity stream data if you have it. The second dataset consists of item metadata, which includes an item ID and metadata associated with each item in the catalog, typically things like product attributes, price point, category, size, color, style, brand, essentially your product hierarchy or ontology. This dataset is optional, but it's very useful for scenarios such as Cold Start when we want to make recommendations on new SKUs that are entering the network. It's also important for your merchandising teams who might want to optimize product recommendations based on their business objectives like revenue, margin, promotions, or premium or private label brands. The third data set is called user metadata. This includes user profile information such as demographics, location, loyalty tier, and more. This data set is also optional. While it's useful to have user metadata, it isn't required, and users do not have to authenticate or log in for the service to work. Amazon Personalize can blend real-time user interaction data with existing user profile and item information to recommend the most relevant items according to the user's current session and activity, as well as past purchasing behavior if available. All data is encrypted to be private and secure, and it's only used to create recommendations for your users. All models are unique to your company's dataset. No data is used to train or propagate models for other customers, and data is not shared between customers or with Amazon.com. So these are the 3 primary data sets, or the inputs to the service. The output from the service is a customized personalization API that includes individualized product or content recommendations for your users. You can easily integrate this API into your existing websites, apps, SMS, and email marketing systems to apply the recommendations across any touchpoint in the shopping journey, from the homepage to category pages to product detail pages to cart. From a machine learning standpoint, behind the scenes, Amazon Personalize automatically processes and inspects the data, identifies which features are meaningful, selects the hyperparameters, or you can select them yourself to tune the model, trains and optimizes the model, hosts the model along with a real-time feature store that stores interactions for retraining, provides accuracy metrics, including scores that represent the relative certainty that Amazon Personalize has in terms of which item the user will select next. And finally, after all of that is happening under the hood, The service delivers hyper-personalized recommendations that respond to the specific needs, preferences, and changing behavior of your users. You simply call the Inference APIs, and the service will output item recommendations or a re-ranked item list in a JSON format, which you can use in your applications. For example, the Get Recommendations API returns a list of relevant items given a user ID, and the Get Personalized Ranking API re-ranks a list of item IDs, given a user ID and a list of item IDs to be re-ranked. As your dataset grows over time from new metadata and the consumption of real-time user events, your models can be retrained to continuously learn and improve predictions. You can also compute recommendations for very large numbers of users or items in one go, store them, and then feed them to batch-oriented workflows, such as email systems. All of the machine learning is fully managed by Amazon Personalize, auto-scales to fit your growing user base and item catalog, and can be delivered in real time with minimal latency. Now that we've seen how Amazon Personalize works, let's look at some of the most common use cases we see when it comes to digital commerce. Customers are looking for the ability to deliver unique homepage experiences by personalizing the user's homepage with product recommendations based on their individual shopping and browsing history. The ability to recommend similar items on product detail pages to improve discoverability. The ability to easily re-rank and personalize item recommendations or search results based on user history rather than just keywords or popularity. The ability to enhance marketing communication by personalizing push notifications and marketing emails with individualized product recommendations. And lastly, the ability to boost upsell and cross-sell by personalizing the recommendations offered at cart. All of these use cases can drive improved customer engagement, conversion, and retention, and can increase key business metrics, things like click-through rate, average order value, items in cart, revenue per visit, purchase frequency, and more. Overall, retailers see a lift in revenue of 25% or more from personalization efforts, making personalization a business-critical priority for retail and e-commerce executives today. Let's dive a bit deeper under the hood of Amazon Personalize's 3 core recipes that power those use cases we just discussed. We'll start with real-time user personalization, which predicts the items that a user will interact with based on interactions, items, and user datasets. When recommending items, this recipe uses automatic item exploration to test different item recommendations, learn from how users interact with those recommended items, and boost recommendations for items that drive better engagement. This improves item discovery when you have a large catalog with a wide variety of SKUs, or seasonal, promotional, or perishable items that are more relevant to users when fresh and timely. The user personalization recipe leverages a hybrid approach of using a state-of-the-art hierarchical recurrent neural network to recommend items based on relevance, with an exploration layer that uses a contextual bandits algorithm to recommend items with little to no interaction history. The HRNN algorithm uses sequence models, which build on the insight that the evolution of historical interest and disinterest is a good indicator of future preference. You control how Personalize weighs exploration through the exploration weight inference hyperparameter. More heavily weighting exploration is ideal when you have a fast-moving catalog, and lower exploration is a good match for use cases where you always want to recommend the most relevant products. With user personalization, Amazon Personalize automatically updates the latest model or solution version every 2 hours behind the scenes to include new data without creating a new solution version. With each update, Personalize adjusts the exploration according to implicit feedback from users. Unlike other personalized algorithms, which solely use positive interactions like clicking or purchasing, the user personalization recipe can also use impressions data. Impressions are lists of items that were visible to a user when they interacted with a particular item. Using this information, Personalize can calculate the suitability of new items based on how frequently an item has been ignored and changes recommendations accordingly. This recipe also addresses a difficult problem in machine learning and a common situation in online shopping, referred to as the cold start. When a new or guest user visits your site, there is no historical behavior upon which we can base recommendations. Personalize supports handling cold users out of the box by allowing you to stream interaction events to Personalize in real time. At the start, Personalize will recommend popular items to cold users, but after an event or two, the service immediately begins adjusting recommendations based on the user's interest and behavior. Recommendations will continue to become more and more relevant as more events are streamed to Personalize, and new items will be introduced into recommendations automatically based on product metadata. At Amazon, this capability has been in use for many years for creating product recommendations, and it's resulted in 21% higher conversions compared to recommendations that do not include new products. The next core recipe in Amazon Personalize is recommending similar items, or our SIMS recipe. Given an item, this algorithm will recommend similar items based on co-occurrence, or all other user behavior, where users also interacted with this item. For e-commerce sites, this is typically implemented on the product detail page. This recipe uses item-to-item collaborative filtering to compare the behavior of users with each other and calculate the similarity between them to find shared interests. It leverages your interactions dataset to recommend items, not item or user metadata, and thus is a good fit for personalization on websites where users are unauthenticated. SIMS recommendations are often delivered in an "if you like this, you may also like that" format, or offered under frequently bought together. Training is typically faster with the SIMS recipe compared to other Amazon Personalized recipes, and this algorithm can scale to large numbers of users and items. The final recipe is personalized ranking. This is where you have a list of items and you want to personalize or re-rank the order of those items for each user. The personalized ranking recipe uses an HRNN algorithm to provide recommendations in ranked order based on predicted interest level. We see this most commonly used on category landing pages or in curated lists like bundling the items in a collection or a featured list of promotional items. It's also sometimes coupled with search engines to re-rank search results before displaying them to users. Really, anywhere you have a list of products, you can use personalized ranking to create a personalized list just for that user. This recipe also uses the same HRNN algorithm we looked at for the user personalization recipe. There are several key features of Amazon Personalize that address challenging machine learning scenarios, incorporate our learnings over the years, and improve the quality and relevance of recommendations. We've mentioned a few already, but to summarize, modeling on impression data allows you to leverage items that are seen but not clicked to drive more relevant recommendations. Item exploration lets you balance how much to explore, where items with less interaction data are recommended more frequently, against how much to exploit, where recommendations are based on what we know about users' interests. Filtering allows you to include or exclude items to recommend based on business rules that you define. For example, you may want to include products the user has purchased in the past to buy again, or limit recommendations for products for a specific brand or category or manufacturer, or only include products above a certain rating or that meet a certain shipping speed. Alternatively, you may want to apply filtering to exclude items that are out of stock or outside a certain price range or not available based on the user's membership tier or loyalty status. Dynamic filters are customizable in real time, allowing you to tailor your business rules for each user when you generate recommendations. Personalize also supports the automatic adjustment of recommendations based on context about your user, such as device type or location, time of day, weather, other information you provide. Embedding context into your dataset allows Personalize to learn this pattern and, at inference time, recommend the most appropriate products with an awareness of the user's context. Lastly, as mentioned before, cold start capability allows you to make recommendations for new users or new items without any interaction history. This is especially important if you have a fast-changing catalog or a rapidly growing user base. These are only a few of the capabilities available in Amazon Personalize. The team is constantly listening to your feedback and working backwards from customer needs to build new features and create even better shopping experiences. Let's look at an AWS customer who is using personalization in an innovative way. StockX is a startup based out of Detroit that is revolutionizing e-commerce with a unique bid-ask marketplace for sneakers, streetwear, handbags, watches, and more. StockX added a recommended for you product row to their homepage using Amazon Personalize, which ultimately became the top performing homepage row and increased customer engagement by 50%, as measured by click-through rate. Even though recommended for you was the second homepage row in terms of user experience, it outperformed the click-through rate of the most popular row located at the top of the page. The recommended for you collection continues to be the highest performing purchase funnel for StockX percentage-wise. It's important to note that the StockX team launched the first personalized part of the StockX experience weeks before the largest holiday season they had ever seen in 2019. Their microservices auto-scaling deployment had a near-perfect availability through peak, and the personalized recommendations delivered by Amazon Personalize were considered a massive win by the StockX leadership team. Personalization remains a C-suite strategic objective for the company. After initial results of the personalization investments started rolling in, the question was not whether to personalize, but how to personalize every aspect of the StockX experience. For more about the StockX personalization story, visit the AWS reInvent 2020 video on YouTube. Let's view personalization now through the lens of a customer who is passionate about transforming online shopping experiences. Launched in 2013, Pomelo Fashion is Asia's leading omnichannel fashion startup offering apparel and accessories both online and across retail locations in Southeast Asia. Pomelo Fashion leveraged Amazon Personalize to create personalized customer experiences and improve the discoverability of new items. But instead of hearing from me, let's hear from the customer in their own words.
Pomelo is the leading omnichannel fashion platform in Southeast Asia, and we're based in Bangkok.
The balance of cost versus power is always on Pomelo's mind, as a startup striving to become the #1 fashion e-commerce platform in Southeast Asia. As we gather and generate more data, we also need a place to store it, normalize it, and utilize it for monitoring our company's KPIs. And with all these challenges happening behind the scenes, we need to create and maintain the optimal customer experience.
When it comes to services, on the customer side, it's all about personalization. So what we've introduced is Amazon Personalize with Lambda powered by Segment. So we have customer data flowing into Lambda, product data flowing into Lambda, and then real-time events flowing from Segment into Lambda into Personalize. And what that means is that we've been able to go from a system of batched recommendations that are very general, like at the country level. So Thailand sees one thing, Singapore sees another. We've gone through that to a system where you can get one-to-one recommendations based on your actions. So you'll see something different than I'll see, for example. It's so fast that you can even see your recommendations changing during the same session. So your category pages could look different, your recommendation layers could look different based on the behavior that you're showing during that session, based on your clicks, your wish list, what you're adding to bag. And what we've seen from this is a massive improvement in not only revenue generated from this, but actually interactions. More people are clicking, more people are adding to bag. We're seeing about 60% of all of our product clicks today are coming from areas that we're personalizing. We've seen the real estate that has personalization has generated an additional 10 to 15% increase in revenue from these improvements, and we're just getting started.
Looking at it from a technical perspective and considering the complexity of our business, we often find ourselves at a decision point of build versus buy. The growing variety of services available from AWS allows us to easily spin up new infrastructure without much effort. Whether it be creating Lambdas to handle very specific tasks, data warehouses, extra server capacity for peak times, or a recommendation engine that plugs directly into our existing event tracking tool. The peace of mind that comes with using tools that are created and supported by an industry leader frees up our developers and managers to focus on advancing the business.
AWS has allowed us to provide a more personalized and customized experience to our customers.
So what is the best way to move forward and experiment with Amazon Personalize in your own environment? There are a few options. You can quickly try it out for yourself using our Getting Started guide on GitHub. We can help you stand up a proof of concept in just a few days using our POC in a Box workshop, designed to help you test the service using your own data, with hands-on or off support from the AWS team. We can connect you with preferred partners who have experience in both retail and AI/ML on AWS and can help you with everything from identifying the right use case and success metrics to implementing a pilot or integrating Amazon Personalize into your existing workflows. We also have a variety of software partners who have built integrations into Personalize, such as Segment, Braze, Magento, High Conversion, and Optimizely. Or we can host an immersion day or workshop to train your team on how to use Amazon Personalize based on the same material used to train Amazon developers. Whatever your path forward, please don't hesitate to reach out to the AWS team with any questions or guidance on how to set up and test Personalize, optimize your results, and transform your online shopping experience. You join the ML Summit to learn, and you can keep the learning going after the summit with resources from AWS training and certification. We offer over 65 courses, many available free and on demand, as well as virtual instructor-led training. AWS experts will help you or your team learn to apply ML to your business, unlocking new insights and value. When you're ready, prepare for the AWS Certified Machine Learning Specialty Exam, which validates your skills and provides an industry-recognized credential. All assets mentioned can be found in the downloadable attachment. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to join the AWS ML Summit. We hope you learned more about Amazon Personalize for digital commerce and that you get an opportunity to check out some of the other great free content available as part of the summit. As always, if you have any feedback on this session, please complete the survey or reach out to our team. Thanks again.